You know, I never thought it'd happen to someone like him. Roger was the kind of man who always showed up early, never missed a golf morning, and could still outwalk most of us during our community hikes. But one Tuesday, he simply didn't come. I later found out he had suffered a heart attack in his sleep. No classic chest-clutching drama. No gasping for breath. Just silence. What's terrifying is that the signs were there. A few weeks before, he complained of feeling more tired than usual. Said he had just a little indigestion and a weird jaw ache that he blamed on chewing too much steak. Looking back now, all of it made sense, too late. You see, heart attacks in older adults, especially those over 60, often come dressed in subtle disguises. They're not always the crushing pain scenes you see on TV. That's why today, I want to share with you the 6 silent signs of a heart attack in seniors, symptoms that often go unnoticed until it's too late. Before we get into them, I'd ask you a favor. If this video brings clarity or helps you recognize something in yourself or a loved one, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. You could be saving a life. Let's begin with a simple truth. Over 40% of older adults experience heart attacks with atypical symptoms. That's almost 1 in every 2. And studies show women and people with diabetes are even more prone to silent symptoms. So why does this happen? As we age, nerve sensitivity diminishes. What may be a screaming pain in a 30-year-old might only register as mild discomfort in someone over 65. Also, heart attacks don't always start in the chest. That's right, they may begin in the back, the arms, the neck, or even the jaw. In Roger's case, that jaw ache was a red flag. His body was warning him, but the alarm was too soft to wake anyone up. Now, let's set the stage for what's to come. In the next few segments, I'll walk you through each silent sign. I'll explain what it means, why it happens, and most importantly, how to spot it early. Because with heart attacks, early detection isn't just helpful, it's life-saving. And I'll tell you right now, this isn't just another health lecture. This is a wake-up call, from one senior to another. We've come too far to be caught off guard now. Stick with me. Let me tell you about Eleanor. She's 69, a retired school teacher, mother of 3, and a proud grandma of 5. She's active, independent, and still volunteers twice a week. But for about a month, she started noticing something strange. She felt utterly drained. Getting out of bed felt like a chore. Climbing stairs. She had to stop halfway to catch her breath. At first, she chalked it up to aging. It's just part of getting old, she said. But then one night, she nearly fainted after folding laundry. Her daughter insisted on taking her to the ER, and that's when they discovered it, elevated cardiac enzymes and signs of an impending heart attack. This is not a one-off story. It's alarmingly common. The first silent sign I want to talk about is unusual, persistent fatigue, and not the kind you get after yard work or staying up too late. This is the type of exhaustion that lingers all day, no matter how much you rest. It sneaks up slowly, until you realize that the simple things, like grocery shopping or walking the dog, feel like climbing a mountain. Why does this happen? As we age, especially for those over 60, the heart may start struggling to pump efficiently. When the blood flow drops, oxygen supply to your muscles drops, and so does your energy. In fact, according to the American Heart Association, fatigue is one of the most underreported symptoms among elderly heart patients, particularly women. It's not flashy. It's not painful. But it's deadly. Now, let's talk about the second warning sign, shortness of breath, especially when doing something you used to handle with ease. Imagine this, you're climbing your porch steps, and suddenly it feels like you just ran a mile. Or maybe you find yourself needing to pause after walking across the living room. This isn't just being out of shape. It could be your body warning you about restricted blood flow, or worse, an underlying transient ischemic attack, a mini stroke that can easily go undetected. The problem? Most seniors attribute breathlessness to aging or lack of fitness. They don't realize it could be the early stage of heart failure or a silent stroke, and by the time they do, it might be too late. And here's the kicker, many seniors already have high blood pressure, and shortness of breath is one of its early signs when it starts affecting the heart. The issue is that symptoms like these develop gradually, so we normalize them. I just need to rest more, we say. But that delay in action, that's what makes these symptoms deadly. Let's break it down further. When your carotid arteries, the ones that send blood to your brain, get partially blocked, even a minor effort like standing up too fast or climbing stairs could cause a dizzy spell. That dizziness might not be just fatigue or age, it could be a precursor to a full-blown stroke. Right about now, you might be wondering, how do I tell the difference between just being tired and something serious? Well, here's a simple test. If you're feeling this way more than 2 to 3 times a week, and if that fatigue or breathlessness is new, persistent, and affecting your quality of life, it's time to get checked. And please, don't self-diagnose. Don't wait until the symptoms pile up. Make an appointment with your doctor. Request a cardiac panel. Ask about a CT scan or an MRI if you suspect blood flow issues. These tests aren't just for major heart attacks, they're essential tools for identifying mini-strokes and transient ischemic attacks in time. While we're here, let's talk about solutions, too. If you're noticing these signs, talk to your doctor about stroke rehabilitation for seniors, home care after stroke, or even balance therapy for seniors to help rebuild strength and mobility. Ask about the best blood pressure monitor for the elderly. These are small steps, but they could be life-saving ones. Before we move on to the next signs, do me one favor. If this story sounds like you or someone you love, share this video with them. Don't wait until it's too late. You might just save a life. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. We've got more real stories, life-saving tips, and senior health wisdom coming your way. Let's continue. Because of the next silent sign. It's even sneakier than the first two. Let's now talk about the symptom that's most often associated with a heart attack, and yet, in seniors, it can appear in ways most wouldn't expect, chest discomfort. Notice I didn't say, chest pain. Because in many elderly patients, it's not the crushing pain you see in the movies. Meet Carl, 74. A retired accountant, he described it to his doctor as a tightness that came and went. It wasn't painful, just strange. Like someone sitting lightly on his chest. A couple of antacids usually made it go away. But then one morning, that tightness turned to a burn that wouldn't quit. And before he knew it, he was in the ER with a full-blown heart attack. Carl was lucky. But too many aren't. This brings us to a crucial distinction. In seniors, heart health issues often present as chest discomfort, not sharp pain. It might feel like pressure, fullness, squeezing, or even a dull ache. Many mistake it for acid reflux, indigestion, or even anxiety. Here's something even more unexpected. Jaw pain and neck tightness. These are often overlooked symptoms, especially in women. The pain might radiate from the chest up, or even start directly in the jaw. The nerves that send pain signals from the heart can sometimes misdirect them to other areas. One viewer of this channel, Linda from Ohio, once commented, "I had no idea my jaw ache was heart-related. I almost dismissed it as TMJ. But your video made me go in. Turns out I was at risk of a serious cardiac event." These kinds of responses are why we keep making these videos. Because they remind us that awareness saves lives. If you feel an odd pressure in your chest, like a band tightening across it, or something weighing it down, don't wait. Combine that with shortness of breath, or jaw and neck pain, and it's time to call 911 or get checked immediately. Even if it feels mild. Don't self-medicate. Don't wait for it to get worse. And don't write it off as, just gas. Also, make sure your doctor is doing the right screenings, CT scan, ECG, or even a stress test if needed. Ask questions. Advocate for yourself. Early detection is your best ally. You might wonder, why does the pain travel to the jaw or neck? That's because the heart and these regions share similar nerve pathways. When the heart sends out distress signals, your brain may interpret them incorrectly, sending pain to the jaw or even the back. But here's where it gets trickier. In many elderly individuals, the discomfort may not even feel like pain at all. Some describe it as pressure, fullness, or even just a heaviness that comes and goes. Others have likened it to indigestion or tightness while walking uphill. This is where silent symptoms become dangerous. Seniors tend to minimize these feelings, especially if they live alone or fear being a burden. But the longer the heart remains under stress without intervention, the greater the risk of permanent damage, or worse. This is where silent symptoms become dangerous. Seniors tend to minimize these feelings, especially if they live alone or fear being a burden. But the longer the heart remains under stress without intervention, the greater the risk of permanent damage, or worse. Let me ask you, have you or someone close to you ever mentioned chest tightness, jaw ache, or unexplained discomfort and brushed it off? Leave a comment below. Your story might help someone take action. And while you're here, consider subscribing to Senior Health Stories. Because this isn't just a YouTube channel, it's a lifeline built on stories, science, and community. Stay with me. Next up is a symptom that hides in plain sight but signals a serious problem. You might not believe this, but one of the most commonly overlooked signs of a heart attack in seniors is sweating, and I don't mean the kind you get after gardening in the summer sun. I'm talking about cold, clammy sweat. The kind that suddenly soaks your shirt while you're just sitting down reading or watching TV. Take Gloria, for instance. 81 years old, sharp as a tack. One day, while waiting for her daughter to arrive, she broke into a sweat so intense it looked like she had just walked out of a sauna. No fever, no exertion, just overwhelming, drenching sweat. Minutes later, she started to feel nauseous and lightheaded. Thankfully, her daughter arrived early, recognized that something was wrong, and rushed her to the ER. Gloria was having a silent heart attack. These unusual signs, profuse sweating, nausea, and anxiety, are often brushed off. I must have eaten something bad. Maybe I'm just nervous. But make no mistake. These are not normal feelings, especially when they strike out of the blue and without a clear reason. Let's talk about nausea. While it's usually linked to stomach bugs or indigestion, in seniors, it can actually indicate a problem with the heart. When your heart isn't pumping efficiently, it can affect other organs, including the stomach. This miscommunication causes that sick, uneasy feeling. Sometimes it comes with vomiting, other times it's just a queasy pit in the stomach that won't go away. And then there's anxiety, or more accurately, a sudden and unexplained sense of doom. Some seniors describe it as a cloud that settles over them or a fear that something terrible is about to happen. This is your body's way of sounding the alarm. Something's off. Why do these symptoms occur? It comes down to how your nervous system and cardiovascular system communicate. A blockage in blood flow doesn't just stress the heart. It creates a cascade of stress signals throughout your entire body. Heart health is deeply intertwined with mental wellness. A heart under duress can mimic or trigger a panic response. And unfortunately, many elderly patients already deal with anxiety, so this particular warning sign often gets dismissed or misattributed. Here's where I need you to lean in and really think. If you or someone you know experiences sudden, unprovoked sweating, a wave of nausea, or an overwhelming sense of dread, especially if accompanied by other symptoms we've discussed, please don't wait. That moment could be the only warning you get. This is why I always urge people to have regular checkups, to know their stroke symptoms, and to have tools at home like a blood pressure monitor for seniors, because every second counts. In fact, drop a comment below. Have you ever had a health scare that turned out to be something serious? Or maybe something that didn't seem urgent but stuck in your memory? Sharing your story might encourage someone else to take action. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to Senior Health Stories, where we don't just talk about symptoms, we connect the dots through stories that matter. We're not done yet. In our next segment, we'll talk about signs that creep in quietly, feelings of indigestion, upper back pain, and lightheadedness that are often ignored but could be the body's last call for help. Stay with me. I want to talk to you today about signs so subtle, they're often ignored, signs that, in many cases, show up just days or even hours before a heart attack. Let's start with something many seniors experience but rarely associate with the heart: indigestion. Have you ever felt that burning sensation in your upper stomach, or a bloated heaviness after a light meal? Maybe you chalked it up to spicy food or eating too fast. But did you know that many heart attacks in seniors first feel like indigestion? In fact, what feels like acid reflux might be your heart struggling to get enough oxygen. Our friend Earl had exactly that. One night, after a small bowl of soup, he felt like something was just sitting in his chest. He took an antacid and went to bed. He never woke up. The coroner said it was a heart attack, masked by symptoms that looked like a digestive issue. Senior health tips often forget to emphasize this connection. The heart and stomach lie close together, and when the heart's not working right, the discomfort can radiate into the digestive area. Next, let's talk about upper back pain, especially between the shoulder blades. This is a particularly common warning sign for women and is often misdiagnosed. It may feel like a tight knot or a dull ache that won't go away, and because it doesn't scream heart attack, it's easy to overlook. Many seniors report this pain while sitting in their recliners or lying in bed. Some say it creeps in while watching TV, while others describe it as a strange weight pressing on the spine. Either way, when paired with symptoms like fatigue or sweating, it's worth paying attention. And finally, lightheadedness. Let me be clear, feeling faint or dizzy when standing up too quickly can be normal. But a sudden, persistent wave of dizziness while you're seated, or while walking slowly, is something else entirely. Especially if it's accompanied by high blood pressure, sweating, or chest pressure. Your heart pumps blood and oxygen to the brain. When that process is interrupted, even slightly, it causes a drop in cognitive function. That's why many people experiencing a heart attack describe the sensation as being foggy, or having a floating head. When combined with confusion, as we talked about earlier, lightheadedness can be a precursor to a major cardiac event. And this becomes even more concerning if there's a history of carotid artery blockage or vascular dementia. I know some of you might be thinking, but Mr. Bennett, I've had indigestion before and I was fine. Or, my back hurts all the time. And I get it, these symptoms on their own may not mean much. But when you start to notice two or more signs occurring together, especially within a short time frame, that's your body asking you to listen. So here's your action step: don't ignore the whispers. Even if it's something you've dealt with before, document it. Keep a journal of unusual symptoms. And if anything feels off, reach out to your doctor. It's always better to be safe. And while you're here, drop a comment below. Have you or someone you know experienced any of these symptoms? What did you do about it? Let's build a space where seniors can learn from each other, because wisdom isn't just about what we know. It's about what we share. In our next and final segment, I'll talk about the hidden risks that linger even after a heart attack seems to have passed, the aftermath many people don't prepare for. And how to protect yourself from the second strike. So stay with me, we're almost there. If you're still with me, thank you. That tells me you're serious about your health, or the health of someone you care about. And now, we need to talk about something most people never prepare for: what comes after the heart attack. You see, surviving the first heart attack is just part of the battle. According to recent studies, nearly 1 in 5 people who survive their first heart attack will experience another one within 5 years. That's not to scare you, that's to motivate you. Let me tell you a story. My cousin Joe had his first heart attack at 67. It was mild, just enough to shake him up. The doctors patched him up, gave him medication, and sent him home. And for about 3 months, he followed every senior health tip you could imagine: morning walks, no salt, daily vitamins. But slowly, life took over. He missed 1 checkup. Then 2. Slipped back into old eating habits. He told himself he was feeling fine. Until he wasn't. Joe passed away just 1 year after his first heart attack, from the second one he didn't see coming. That's the risk. We tend to think the danger ends once the hospital releases us. But that's actually when the real work begins. So here's what I recommend, from both experience and research. First, commit to regular follow-ups with a cardiologist or primary care physician. Not once a year, but every 3 to 4 months, especially in the first 2 years. Second, invest in tools that empower you daily. A blood pressure monitor for the elderly that alerts you to sudden spikes. A digital pill box that ensures you never miss a dose. Third, focus on stroke rehabilitation for seniors if your heart issues were accompanied by neurological symptoms. Even if your speech, memory, or balance wasn't affected, proactive therapy like balance exercises for seniors or cognitive therapy post-stroke can strengthen both body and brain. Next, and this is crucial, address emotional recovery. Many survivors deal with anxiety, fear of recurrence, or even depression. These emotions are real, valid, and treatable. Don't suffer in silence. Finally, take your experience and turn it into wisdom. Talk to your children about it. Share what you've learned in community groups. Join a private stroke clinic discussion group or leave a comment below to inspire others. Because when you speak up, you not only heal yourself, but you could save someone else. One last thought: heart disease doesn't mean the end of your story. It means the start of a more intentional one. A story where you put your well-being first. Where you turn knowledge into action. So here's what I want you to do now. If this video has helped you, like it. Share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe, not just for content, but for community. We're in this together. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay strong, stay aware, and stay connected.